Well, hello and welcome to the Seth Joyner Show, and I think some of you are still in a state of disbelief, as I am. Not many beside the players and a few of the coaches who saw an Eagles win in the cards for this team. Pride is a powerful thing if directed properly. The defense starred in Sunday's win, and the offense struggled at times, and Nick Sirianni did all he could to make things that much more difficult. But the players overcame and persevered in spite of Nick's bad decisions. It's time for my breakdown. The Eagles rolled into New Orleans and handled the Saints as if they were the undefeated team, averaging 45.5 points per game. From the jump, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis decided they were going to be dominant. Jalen took up residence in the Saints' backfield all day, and Jordan was stout versus the run and looked nimble of foot, recording his first sack of the season. This is and will remain to be the starting point of reference when we evaluate how this defense is going to be. Vic Fangio did a great job of scheming what the Saints did best and providing multiple fronts and coverages to take it away. But the play of the two interior guys, Carter and Davis, plus Milton Williams and Thomas Booker, allowed the linebackers and safeties to flow and fill gaps to shut down the Saints' running game. A rushing attack that was averaging 39 carries per game, 185 yards for 4.9 yards per carry over the first two games of the season. The entire defense flew around, attacking the line of scrimmage, shutting down the stretch play, which is the genesis of all that the Saints like to do. They held the Saints to 83 total yards in the first half alone, 12 carries for 32 yards, and 51 passing yards alone. For an offense that was averaging 400-plus total yards per game, that is superb defense. And for the day, the Birds yielded a paltry 219 yards of total offense. Hey, well done. Well done, gents. Offensively, Jalen struggled with turnovers once again, one interception and one fumble. He has to figure out how to get this under control because one of the greatest indicators of wins and losses can be attributed to turnovers. But he made the plays necessary when he needed to make them to give this team a chance to win. And that's priority number one as far as I'm concerned. He finished the day 29 for 38 for 300 yards, and I'd be remiss if I did not give the O-line some love. After Mekhi Becton and Lane Johnson exited the game with a hand injury and a concussion, Tyler Steen and Fred Johnson stepped in at right guard and right tackle and never missed a beat. Kudos. The offensive stars of the day were Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley. What a breakout game for Dallas. We've been waiting for this Eagles staff to utilize this tremendous weapon for a long time, and he had a career day. 10 catches for 170 yards and a huge 61-yard scamper up the sideline, which set up the winning touchdown. For Saquon, after only 5 carries in the first half for 17 yards, he exploded in the second half with 12 runs for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns, and an explosive home run touchdown of 65 yards. Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts did a phenomenal job of adjusting at halftime. They balanced up the run-pass ratio, 16 passes, 12 runs, 12 Barkley runs, that is, to keep the Saints off kilter. Jalen made some critical checks at the line of scrimmage. The most noted one he checked to was the 61-yard play to Dallas Goedert. Now, I'd also be remiss if I didn't comment on Nick Sirianni's decision-making. I'm all for data analytics assistant, but he has to be much better on fourth down situational decisions. On the last possession of the first half with the score 0-3, the Saints, on 4th and 1 from the Saints 15, with 15 seconds left and 1 timeout, he chose to go for it. On a fake tush-push handoff to Barkley, they got stuffed. The sensible thing to have done at that moment was take the 25-yard field goal, tie the game, you get the ball at the start of the second half. His next blunder was on the very first possession of the second half. The Eagles moved the ball down the field, got to the Saints 37, and on 4th and 3, instead of taking the 3 and tying the score, he went for it again. Turned the ball over on downs on the Jalen Hurts sack. After turning down 2 chip shots for Elliott, on the third possession of the second half, he elected to try a 60-yarder, which Elliott missed, giving the Saints the ball in midfield. Listen, I'm all for going for it when necessary, but the ones he should have kicked, he didn't. And the one he should have punted, he kicked. Thank goodness for the defense because they bailed him out time after time all day long. He cost them the game against the Falcons by not taking the early field goal in the second possession of the game, which would have been the difference in the game, in the outcome of that game, in my opinion, and learned zero from it the following week against the Saints. He's got to be more of a part of why they win instead of the reason why they lose. The winning is already hard enough. That's my breakdown. When I come back, the godfather of Philly sports joins me to talk the Saints win and the next opponent, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
When you open the BetParx app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. BetParx.
Most people don't know how to get the care they need. The experts at Stay at Home Care can help. Before choosing a caregiver or family member for your care, you need to apply for the Home Care Program. The application process can be complicated. Stay at Home Care can help you navigate through every step. Once approved, your caregiver or family member will receive guaranteed weekly pay, a variety of medical benefits options, paid holidays, paid vacation, and overtime pay. Call Stay at Home Care, here to help every step of the way.
I'm in that mode. Stick to the code. I'm in my zone. Let's go. I'm back in my bag. I'm wrecking the wins and it's making them.
You've got your Sunday obsession, and we got you. Now with Verizon, get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV on us and get every out-of-market Sunday game. Plus $800 off Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
See you Sunday.
At Pond Lehocky Giordano, we understand the impact an injury can have on your life. Our experienced attorneys have recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we know we can do the same for you. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come, join our team.
This segment is brought to you by Pond Lehocky. Welcome back. I'm always overjoyed to talk football with my next guest, my former colleague, the patron of the yellow notepad and the godfather of Philly sports, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Didinger. Ray, tell me, how in the world did this football team go down to New Orleans and pull off what no one thought that they could?
I would point to 2 things, Seth. Number one, the defense, which had been torn apart in the media, with the fans, everybody, after the Atlanta game, went down to New Orleans and played lights out. They kept you in the game. And then, when you really needed it, they rediscovered Dallas Goedert. I mean, those 2 things allowed you to come out of there 2-1 with your season, the ship not entirely righted, but at least better than it was coming out of the Falcons game.
Well, listen, you know, the 2-ton gorilla in this whole situation right now, as far as I'm concerned, is Nick Sirianni. Give me your thoughts on his situational decisions.
I think you covered it pretty well in your open. I mean, all the same questions you were asking, I was asking. I mean, people will say this is old school, old-fashioned thinking, but I was saying the same thing in the Falcons game in the first quarter, and I was saying the same thing in this game. When you drive it down the field, take the points. Early in the game, you take the points. The decision right before halftime, I don't know if there's a single way you can justify that. As well as your defense is playing, you got the chance right at the end of the half, take the 3 points, go in tied at halftime. You're going to get the ball coming out in the second half. You're back in the ball game. Because you can see the way the game's playing out, that your defense is playing absolutely great. Got the New Orleans Saints completely under control. The points are right there. Take the points. It's the simplest thing possible. And it seems like Nick just wants to make his job that much harder.
The big two woke up from hibernation. That's Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
Right.
What do you see from these two, and can they sustain this? Because in my opinion, they're going to have to play this way the rest of the season.
I agree with you. If this team's going to go as far as people expected them to go, as far as they want to go, it has to start there with those guys. And here's the thing, Seth. They're capable of that. Mm-hmm. They're capable of that. What you saw in New Orleans, listen, you're looking at 2 first-round draft picks who played like first-round draft picks. Right. That's what you got. Now, I think that Vic Fangio has to get a lot of credit for coming up with the scheme that he came up with. Played a lot of 5-man front. Walked Zach Braun up sometimes to where they had actually a 6-man front. But in the middle, what happened in the middle was that Davis and Carter really controlled everything in there. Mm-hmm. If you go 5-man solid, you go 6-man solid, it takes that double team off of Carter and it makes him more of a factor. Right. But what you saw in that game was what we've known about Carter really from the time they drafted him. He's a guy that can take over a football game. He didn't do that the first 2 weeks, but he did it in New Orleans, and that's the reason why the Eagles came out of there with a win.
The potential is there. We can see it. So now the question is, how do they parlay this?
Well, they have to continue doing what they did down there. The defense has to make big plays. Davis and Carter have to give them that kind of effort every week. But the other part of it, Seth, is the offense just has to get the mistakes out of their game. Too many penalties, way too many turnovers. Seth, if I asked you and we've talked endlessly about giveaway takeaway right. and how turnover ratio is the biggest single indicator of winning in the NFL. You want to take a guess about the last time the Eagles won giveaway takeaway in any game that they had played? I'll take you back. the Kansas City game last year.
Wow.
They have gone 11 games without winning giveaway takeaway. Turned it over 20 times and gotten 7 takeaways. They are minus 13 over those games. Really hard to win in the NFL if you're playing like that. So it has to start with the quarterback. The quarterback has to be more careful in his decision making. He has to take better care of the football. You have to stop turning the ball over.
When healthy, we expected Saquon to be special. But you and I have talked constantly ad nauseum about Dallas Goedert. Could this be the beginning of the emergence? Could this may be the thing that wakes this staff up to how special this guy can be?
Boy, I hope so. Because you're right, you and I have talked about that all the time. I mean, I understand you have 2 elite wide receivers. Okay, I understand that. But you also have a potentially elite tight end. And they have way, way underutilized him. Now, in this situation, coming off the Atlanta game, and you don't have A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith gets hurt, all of a sudden Goddard becomes playmaker number 1.
Right.
But you shouldn't have ignored him that long. Well, the fact of the matter is you go to him in this, and you've referred to it, career game, in every way. 10 catches, most in any game. 170 yards, most in any game. The 61-yarder that wins the game at the end is the longest gain of his career. It shouldn't have come to this point. To me, if you just look at his skill set, I think he ranks with the top 5 tight ends in football. I'm putting him in there with Kittle and LaPointe and all those guys. I think he's that good. So if you have a playmaker who's that good, even though you got other playmakers on the field, you have to find a way to utilize him and make him a bigger part of the offense. They did in New Orleans, and that's how they won the game.
All right, so Todd Bowles has had Jalen's number. How can Kellen Moore put him in a better position to be successful against this defense?
Well, you know Todd Bowles as well as I do. And when there are no surprises with Todd. You go up and play against him, he's going to be blitzing you. I mean, that's how he beat you in the playoff game. You know he's not changing. That's what he's going to come out with in this game too. So you're hoping that Kellen Moore does a better job of adapting the offense to what is going to be a lot of zero blitz and a lot of heavy pressure. Don't run a lot of vertical routes. Run a lot of underneath routes, hot routes, quick balls that get the ball out of the quarterback's hands in a hurry. That's what it's going to be, because Todd is not going to pull his punches. He's going to come out blitzing because he's had great success blitzing the Eagles before. He's going to do that again. The Eagles have to be prepared for it, and really it's going to be with a lot of short passes, quick release throws. You do that, you can beat the blitz.
Ray, my friend, it's always an honor to have you on talking Eagles football. I appreciate your time, and I know that my viewers are always happy to hear from the Diddy. All right?
I'm always happy to spend time with you, Seth.
Well, thank you, man. Up next, Brad Feinberg is here to talk your fantasy and betting picks for Week 4's matchups.
let's go. I'm back in my bag, I'm wrecking the wins and it's making them.
You've got your Sunday obsession, and we got you. Now with Verizon, get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV on us and get every out-of-market Sunday game. Plus $800 off Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
See you Sunday.
The Excite Center at Parks Casino, the region's hottest live entertainment venue. Check out your favorite concerts, comedy, boxing, MMA, all at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. Don't miss Funny Man JB Smoove on Saturday, September 14th, plus Straight No Chaser on Friday, October 18th. Don't miss these two exciting headliners, only at the Excite Center inside Parks Casino. Parks Casino, this is how you win. This is how you win. Tickets on sale now.
And the next thing I knew, I woke up in a hospital bed.
Has a friend ever told you a story about an accident and someone says,
you should probably sue them.
forget your friend. Call Ponley Hockey Giordano.
We're an injury law firm that's recovered billions of dollars for our clients.
And with our vast network of attorneys throughout the country, we know we can do the same for you.
So if you've been injured in an accident, give Ponley Hockey a call.
One conversation is all it takes, and you won't pay a dime until we win.
This is Seth Joyner, top analyst for the Birds. I've also analyzed the best auto dealerships, and I drive a Davis Honda.
Get to Davis Honda now and fall into savings. Lease a new 2024 Prologue EV for just $299 per month. See why Davis Honda continues to win outstanding awards for sales and service, including the highest award from Honda, the President's Award, 2 years in a row. Fall into savings right now at Davis Honda. Feel the Davis difference at Davis Honda in Burlington.
I'm Seth Joyner, and I drive a Davis Honda.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional-grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
This segment is brought to you by Bet Parks. Welcome back. Brad Feinberg is here to help you with your fantasy lineup and betting picks for Week 4. Follow Brad at Brad's Best Bets on X. All right, Brad, so how did the Birds pull off this win over the Saints?
They pulled it off because Jalen Carter, in my opinion, Seth, had the best game of his NFL career. He was utterly dominant, was beyond impressed with him, and we saw, listen, defense saved the day.
Brad, these games are becoming more and more unpredictable. Give me your 4 picks for this week.
So I'm going to start out with the Eagles game. I say they get the revenge. A lot of running in this game. I think they win the game by at least a field goal. In my opinion, over an overrated Tampa Bay team. Next pick, Seth. Look, we saw on Monday night the Buffalo Bills look like world beaters. They looked incredible. So am I going to take Buffalo this week? No, because I think they're getting a little bit overrated. They played a really bad Jacksonville team. I'm going to take the Ravens minus 1.5 points, Seth. Next, Falcons are playing the Saints. Now, they probably seem like two kind of even teams, but I think Atlanta's a little bit better, Seth. I really do. I would have made this line closer to 3. I think I have the better team at home, laying 1.5 points. I say it's too cheap. And then last, Seth, we saw on Monday the Jaguars how bad they are. Trevor Lawrence being paid $1 zillion is even good. I think this line should be over 7. Give me Houston minus the 6, Seth.
All right, on the fantasy side of things, give me your top players and defense for Week 4.
I'm going to give you some underrated players as I see. I'm going to start with quarterback Caleb Williams. Look, he's throwing the ball a ton because this team cannot run the ball. He's being priced as one of the cheapest quarterbacks, 16th out of the 22 starters on the board this week. Running back wise, Seth, has to be Jordan Mason. Look, Jordan Mason's getting all you can eat carries. Give me Jordan Mason any day of the week. Next, receivers, I'm going to stick with his teammate. San Francisco wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. Look, no Deebo Samuel. We saw Jawan Jennings have a career game last week. He's being priced like mid-tier this week. It's not one of the most expensive guys. Jawan Jennings is not going to have that kind of game again. I say Brandon Ayuk finally starts to earn that $30 million a year he's getting, Seth, and has a good game. And defensively, Seth, even though I don't like them in the game, I think New Orleans Saints is being the 4th cheapest defense is crazy. They actually played really well defensively against Philadelphia. Atlanta's not a world beater offensively. For a cheap option that's costing almost nothing, they're my pick.
And finally, Brad, what players and defenses are you avoiding this week?
Aaron Rodgers, absolutely incredible. But I'm going to fade him this week against a Denver defense that has really arguably been the best defense in all pro football. And I just think, in my opinion, being priced in the top 10 in a really low total game, I don't need to take my chances with Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to be a lot of Breece Hall, a lot of Brown Allen. No thank you in paying up for Aaron Rodgers. Running back-wise, Jonathan Taylor is the third most expensive running back. Is Jonathan Taylor great? Of course he's great. But you know what? In this matchup, going against the Pittsburgh Steelers and their second-ranked run defense, no thank you. Well, if I don't like Aaron Rodgers, I'm probably going to not like Garrett Wilson. Sixth most expensive receiver going against probably, arguably, the best cornerback in football in Patrick Surtain. No way am I paying up for Garrett Wilson, who hasn't even had a good game yet, going against arguably the top cornerback in football. And then defensively, Seth, look, the Cleveland Browns were great last year in defense. But here's the thing. Myles Garrett is going for an MRI. I'm not sure if he's playing. And their defense has been awful. They let Daniel Jones march up and down the field against them. I know the Raiders aren't great, but being priced the top 3 defense, I don't see it. I'm fading the Browns.
All right, Brad. Always great to catch up with you, and you know we appreciate your picks.
Thanks, buddy. I'll see you next week.
All right. Download the BetParx app. Like me, you love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParx. Coming up next, my closing thoughts and predictions for the Eagles versus the Buccaneers this week in Tampa Bay, Florida.
And the next thing I knew, I woke up in a hospital bed.
Has a friend ever told you a story about an accident and someone says,
You should probably sue them.
forget your friend. Call Pond Hockey Giordano.
We're an injury law firm that's recovered billions of dollars for our clients.
And with our vast network of attorneys throughout the country, we know we can do the same for you.
So if you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Hockey a call.
One conversation is all it takes, and you won't pay a dime until we win.
Stick to the code. I'm in my zone. Let's go. Let's go. I'm back in my bag. I'm wrecking the wins and it's making them.
You've got your Sunday obsession, and we got you. Now with Verizon, get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV on us and get every out-of-market Sunday game. Plus $800 off Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
See you Sunday.
Pride, passion, and persistence. These are the values that drive us all at Ron Jaworski Golf. We strive to deliver outstanding conditions as well as playability for golfers of all ages and abilities. Our championship golf courses offer a variety of challenges, from a link-style walk along the river to an escape into the pines and everything in between. My team at Ron Jaworski Golf is committed to delivering memorable experiences every single day. See all we do at ronjaworskigolf.com.
When you open the BetParx app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. BetParx.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
This segment is brought to you by Verizon Communications. Welcome back. From the onset of the 2024 season, I was cautiously optimistic about this team. After the Atlanta Falcons loss, I was simply cautious, in part because of Jalen's propensity to turn the ball over and the lack of consistency on the defensive side of the football. The key to being a good defense begins and ends with defending the run game. The Eagles' defense yielded an average of 157 yards per game over the first 2 games. That's unsustainable if you have any designs whatsoever of being a good defense. The first place you have to look is the interior defensive line. Both Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis simply were not getting the job done. And in turn, that meant that the linebackers and the safeties couldn't fit and be a factor in the run game either. Couple that with the lack of pass rush, and you have a recipe for disaster. I'm not sure what the conversation was like last week around the NovaCare Center from Vic Fangio, but the big boys came to play versus the Saints, which meant that the linebackers and safeties could now be a factor in stopping the run. The defense truly was the linchpin to winning this game because they kept the game close until Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts could get it all going. Speaking of the offense, without A.J. Brown for the second week in a row and losing Devontae Smith in the second half to a concussion presented its own problems. I'm not certain why Saquon Barkley was an afterthought in the first half, but once they got him rolling, the offense kicked into high gear. If not for 3 bad situational decisions by head coach Nick Sirianni, this game would have been a lot easier to win. Kellen Moore and Jalen finally game plan Dallas Goedert into the offense in a major way. He became an even more critical piece once Devontae exited. I've been waiting for a long time for Dallas Goedert to break out, and in my opinion, he could be a major difference maker if they'd only use him. They schemed him open in a variety of ways, and he responded with a huge game, 10 catches for 170 yards. I understand that A.J. and Devontae are number 1 and number 2 targets on this team, but it's unconscionable that an elite-level tight end would be so unutilized in this offense. Saquon will continue to be the key cog in the success of this offense. Hats off to the offensive line coach, Jeff Stoutland. He had Johnson and Steen ready to roll when Becton and Johnson went down. The big question moving forward is, can Jalen cut down and minimize the turnovers while playing at a high level? How quickly can the Birds get their key players healthy? And all of a sudden, that early bye week is starting to look like a godsend. The other question is, can the big boys at the defensive tackle position continue to duplicate last week's production? All eyes will certainly continue to be upon them. I think we all wondered how quickly could both units, offense and defense, get up to speed, play with consistency, and with high productivity. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Birds have had their struggles with this team over the years, losing 2 of the last 3 games that they played against them. If both sides of the football for the Birds can continue to perform like they did last week and Jalen can stop the turnovers and the mistakes, this team will be hard to handle from this point forward. I believe that this Saints win will be the launching point for the rest of this season. This team now understands the level of play that is necessary to win in the National Football League. And with that realization, I believe an energized Eagles team will roll into Tampa Bay and win this game 27-17. That's the show for tonight. Check in 2 weeks after the bye. We'll look back on hopefully the Birds win against the Bucs and look ahead to Week 6 matchup as the Birds travel to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. Have a good night and fly, Eagles fly.